I'm now joined by Qutaiba Idlbi, Director for the America's Syrian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Qutaiba, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, President Trump has revoked US sanctions on Syria after a devastating civil war. Will this help support the country towards stability and peace, like the US administration has said?
Certainly. U.S. sanctions have been in place for a while now on Syria, on the Assad regime, because of the Assad regime's foreign policy, whether in the region or abroad, because of its support for terrorism and because of its efforts to destabilize the region. And because of that, we have seen over and over how the Syrian people were the first one to actually suffer as a result because of those policies of the Assad regime, especially in the last 14 years. The historic step by President Trump 2 days ago really signifies the future that is coming for the Syrian people. For the first time, Syria could actually be free of sanctions. As President Trump outlined in his decision, this is not only about removing executive orders that impose sanction regimes on Syria, but the U.S. administration will also be looking at designations of Syria, of certain Syrian officials to be removed down the line. So this will definitely draw a lot of investment from Syrians in the diaspora, from American companies, from American tech who are actually looking forward to engage in the Syrian markets after devastating 14 years of war and over 50 years of dictatorship.
So possibly could put Syria back on the global stage, but the wide-ranging executive order signed by Donald Trump has also asked the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, to review HTS's designation as a terrorist organization. Do you think this is a risky move to do this?
I think it's a necessary step to really respond to the positive developments that the Syrian government has been leading for the last 6 months. Not only the Syrian government has provided a new face for Syria that is based on cooperation, that is based on connecting with the region and with countries abroad, that is based on ensuring that Syria does not constitute a threat or that there are no threats emerging from Syria against anyone in the region. But also the Syrian government has been now the main partner to counter ISIS and to continue to push Iran out of Syria for the last 6 months. So this delisting, if and when it happens, it will be a reflection of this increasing partnership between the United States and the new Syrian government, and is certainly required because without the delisting, it would be really hard for American government, but also American businesses to engage meaningfully and fully with different branches of the Syrian government. So I think there is an understanding in Washington by the Trump administration of the need to really support this government, of the need to ensure stability for the time to come, and to really work hand in hand with the new Syrian government on all issues on the table.
President Trump is due to meet his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu next week. The US clearly, as you've just been explaining to me, wants stronger ties with Syria. Is normalization possible between Israel and Syria at the stage where we are?
I think the most important part here is to really ensure a positive environment that allows the reduction of hostilities, that allows the reduction of threats to both countries and to every country in the region. The foreign minister has outlined very clearly that Syria wants to make sure that it doesn't constitute to anyone a threat to anyone in the region, including Israel. I think to start this positive environment, there is a need to return back to the 1974 lines of deconfliction, where Syria can ensure the safety of the borders on its side, and where Israel can really withdraw back to the 1974 lines and really stop violating the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria. And I think this is where the conversations so far have been focused on. We've seen some positive developments on the ground as a result of those discussions, and the hope that those discussions would really lead to a comprehensive agreement around those lines.
The Israeli military says it has captured a terrorist cell operated by Iran in southern Syria, and this is news that we got today. Is this a common occurrence for terrorists to hide inside and operate from inside Syria?
We haven't seen concrete intelligence around such actions. At the end of the day now, there is a new government in place that has been the #1 enemy of Iran, of Hezbollah, for a long time. So it's very important down the line to really work with and through the Syrian government to ensure that such threats are assessed and dealt with in the best way possible by the Syrian government. I think the main issue here is that if those acts of, violating Syria's sovereignty continue, it just attracts other violations, specifically by Iran and by other malign actors in the region. So it wouldn't be in the interest of anyone down the line to really continue on that path. I think there is an alignment of interest across everyone in the region to ensure that the win we had on December 8th by pushing Iran and Hezbollah out of the region and the Levant continues to be the case.
And just before I let you go, I just want to talk to you quickly about the rebuilding of Syria, because you did mention the future of Syria free from sanctions, US investment as possible from American companies. But realistically, how long is this going to take? How difficult will it be to rebuild Syria?
Look, this is not going to be an easy task at all. What the Assad regime has really destroyed, not only in the last 14 years of war, but in the last 6 decades of its ruling of Syria, is not going to be fixed overnight. I think the main issue here is really to start on the right track and to really continue to give the hope to the Syrian people that the world will continue to engage with them now that Assad is gone. What the Syrian government is trying to do is just lay the path right now for a positive engagement that is beneficial for the region, that is beneficial for the international community, but most importantly, beneficial for the Syrian people. That would create jobs, that would improve infrastructure, that would attract investment from the region and from abroad, where Syrians can benefit, but also where the international community can see a positive space where they can engage not only on economy and investment, but also on security, military, and political issues. So we're quite hopeful about those engagements. We're quite hopeful that the results are going to come down the line in the very near future, and they will be reflected in the services and the improvement of the daily life of the Syrian people for sure.
Qutaiba Idlbi, Director for the America's Syrian Ministry for Foreign Affairs. It was really great to have your insights. I appreciate you joining the show. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.